What's up, y'all? It's your boy KevOnStage, and it's time for another outstanding edition of In Traffic with KevOnStage. It's another beautiful day in Los Angeles. The rain is still here. This is the third day of rain in 4 days. 3 out of the last 4 days of rain. So in Los Angeles, people are losing their mind. Do you hear me? They are losing their mind. I went to the grocery store yesterday, and there was a sign that said, "Caution, floor may be slippery due to rain." That's how you know that it very rarely rains, or it never rains in Southern California. Listen, it's ridiculous. People in LA are the absolute worst at driving in the rain. Maybe because I lived in Seattle for 13 years, and for the most part, it rained 270, 80 out of 365 days of the year. Some sort of rain. Not always hard. Most of the time, drizzle and just consistent rain. But it rained. You hear me? It rained. So, it rains like 20 days max in LA. It's rained actually probably less than 20 days in the last 2 years. And it very rarely rains hard. So when it does, it messes up stuff. I enjoyed doing In Traffic with KevOnStage yesterday. But if it's gonna work, guys, I need your help. Just like Dear KevOnStage, I need you guys to help me find the topics. I'll tell you how this is gonna work. Whatever you want to talk about for the next day's podcast or video, whatever. This is kind of like a podcast in the sense that it's super long, but it's video because I feel like if I'm going to post it on YouTube, I might as well have video because that's how we're used to conversing. You see what I'm saying? This video is going to be ugly. My phone may drop. May have to pick it up. Some will be longer than others. It all depends on traffic. So I start researching in the morning, but my morning's already busy. I got to make the regular video because I don't want to stop that, and then I got to get topics for the In Traffic with KevOnStage. Then we got to record them. And if anything takes long, like if the video takes long to edit, then I won't have any subjects. So first thing I need you to do is if you think of something to talk about for In Traffic with KevOnStage, either comment below or email me. It can be anything. Now, it can't be like Dear KevOnStage stuff that I can read. It's like, Kev, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Did you see this article? Like things like that. And I'll try to read them throughout the day for the next days In Traffic with KevOnStage. I also just scour the news. You know, Yahoo, CNN, Black Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. See what people are talking about and talk about that. But it would help me if you guys gave me things to talk about. We do 7, 8 topics per day. I can talk for 30 minutes, hour, whatever. And it can be anything. Like today's, I'm going to give you the randomness of today so that you understand the scope of how it can be anything. And I enjoy this because otherwise I listen to Steve Harvey Morning Show until Nephew Tommy does his prank, and then I feel silly for laughing in the car by myself, but his pranks always make me laugh. And then for the most part, I just turn on Pandora or listen to music for 45 minutes or an hour or whatever. And I would rather talk to you guys and give you some content to watch to help you through your day. And again, it can be serious topics, it can be funny, it can be relationship, it can be anything. So the first thing I want to talk about is Will Smith is back. If you don't know, Will Smith is actually, let me go back. First thing I want to talk about is Meek Mill is back. He was released from jail yesterday. And it's not really like huge news to me. He's not a rapper that I don't buy his albums, or I know of him, but he's just, just one of many rappers. I don't have anything against him. He's Meek Mill. He's Maybach Music Group. He beefed with Wale that one time I made the video. He's known for screaming, apparently, to people. But what was interesting about him coming home from jail is it was all over social media. There was two things. It was like Meek Mill's home, and people were genuinely excited. Like, people in North Philly were excited, and I get that because that's where he's from, and he's, from what I know, he's supposed to have been really a figure in the community, like positively getting people jobs who would otherwise be on the street, be really active in his town, all that. So I get why, if you live in North Philly, you're excited. What was interesting to me is just like why the average person was excited. Either they're like, he has way more fans than I knew of, or I didn't know that many people knew to expect him to come home. And I don't know if you saw the memes of him running around the corner and stuff, but I had a hearty laugh with those memes. I didn't get any, like, sometimes I have great ideas for memes, and sometimes I just draw blanks, and sometimes I just enjoy other people doing it. And yesterday I just enjoyed other people doing it. I didn't even begin to think of, so I tried to think of one for a little bit, and I had no luck. So shout out to Meek Mill's return from jail, and here's to you. We're doing cheers, hoping you can stay out. Now, Will Smith is doing a movie called Suicide Squad. My wife was telling me about this morning because she's her celebrity crush, and we're gonna get to celebrity crushes in the next topic. But Will Smith is joining Tom Hardy, and Tom Hardy played Bane in The Dark Knight Returns, and he was in Warrior, he was in Inception. He's a pretty good actor. Will Smith's in it. Jared Leto, is it Leto or Leto? Leto, I think, is in it. And here's why I'm happy. Will Smith is, he makes really good movies. We're just gonna pretend After Earth didn't exist. I didn't hate After Earth as much as most people did, and I was a victim of the reverse hype. So here's what happens with movies, with me and a lot of people. If everybody says the movie is so good, it rarely lives up to how good people have said it is. If everybody says the movie is so bad, it rarely lives up to how bad it was. So with After Earth, I was expecting like the worst movie ever. Now, granted, it wasn't a great movie. It was rather boring and long, but I wouldn't say it was the worst ever. Will Smith in it. I haven't seen a Will Smith movie I didn't really like. Now, Wild Wild West, people were like, destroy that, but I enjoyed Wild Wild West for what it was. I mean, I went there to watch Will Smith do some silly stuff, make me laugh, and it did that. Now, it was corny, it was over expensive and all that stuff, but it wasn't like terribly bad. So that's just how I feel about it. Now, knowing that he chose Wild Wild West and turned down The Matrix is really the thing that hits you right in the feels. Imagining Will Smith in The Matrix, it would have been like so much more different. Now, at this point, I can't imagine anybody but Keanu Reeves, because Will Smith does this thing that I'm not terribly a fan of, and that's the running and the yelling. Will Smith has more running and yelling through the rain scenes than anybody else in Hollywood. That is a scientific fact. Will Smith runs through the rain and yells more than anybody else in Hollywood. No doubt about it. I can see him doing Enemy of the State, Men in Black, Hancock. Hancock, at the end of Hancock, he was in the rain, like dying. And he does that. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger thing. But, you know, Will Smith in a superhero movie will be great. I mean, you think about all the movies he's been in. He's had some great ones. He's had, I mean, let me do my top 10 Will Smith movies in no particular order. Because this is In Traffic with KevOnStage, and we're just talking, you know? No particular order. Independence Day, I'm just going to them as I think of them. Independence Day. Enemy of the State. Enemy of the State is one of my favorite Will Smith movies, and movies overall. It's not top 5, but it's top 15 for me. I really liked Enemy of the State. It was a great premise. I love John Voight. Gene Hackman was good in it too. So we got Enemy of the State. Independence Day. I love Pursuit of Happiness. Really like that. Of the Men in Blacks, really just the first one does it for me. As I you know, 2 and 3, or did they do 4? 2 and 3 for sure. We're like, okay, they're just cashing out. So yeah, they, you know, it got a little silly. The one where Tommy Lee Jones had to go young and then go old, just too weird for me. But the first one was really dope. I liked I Am Legend a lot. I mean, I knew Will was a good actor, but when he, like, you know, covered the screen alone for over an hour and I was interested, that was dope. When he had to kill the dog, I found myself being like, I am really sad. I didn't cry, because I was just like, nah, cuz. But I was genuinely like, eesh, that was pretty tough. So I Am Legend was really good. I, Robot wasn't bad. It was good. It was okay. It wasn't bad. I liked it. It's not on the top of the list. Legend of Bagger Vance, I was bored out of my mind. I actually took Melissa on a date to see that when we were but young children of the Lord. What else has Will been in? Hancock was good. It was funny, had enough action. The end of the part where the end part was kind of whack to me, because it was just kind of whack. It was like, Melissa was like, we have this thing that we always talk about in movies. Whatever you say the rules are, just stick to the rules. And in the Hancock movie, it was like, the closer you get to him and the lady, Charlize Theron, you know, their powers are good and they're susceptible to death. So the way Will was getting beat up and kicked around, he should have been like dead. And of course he did. And she like ran away 15 feet and she was alive. So for the life of me, I can't think of any more Will Smith movies right now. I felt like 10 wouldn't be hard, but I don't think I have 10 yet. And I'm not counting 2 or 3 Men in Blacks. And I can't research or anything and drive, because I'm driving. Well, so my phone is recording and I can't Google anything. And this is part of being in traffic with KevOnStage. All these thoughts are not fully fleshed out. Well, anyway, those are the ones that I like because they came to mind there. And while we're on it, I want to talk about celebrity crushes, because Will Smith is my wife's celebrity crush. Number one, when you're married, you're allowed celebrity crushes. And my wife has a couple. I'm going to give you hers and I'm going to give you mine. The reason we can have celebrity crushes, my wife said, if you ever get so famous that you start working with these people, you cannot have celebrity crushes. The whole point of celebrity crushes is that you both know they're so far out of your league that you can't it's like there's no point in getting mad because we both know that we can't, you know, have them. Like, I can't get jealous of my wife liking Will Smith because I know that Will Smith's never going to be in a situation where he can holler at her and she might be interested because he's super famous. You know, she goes to work, comes home, we go to church, we do our vacations. We don't run into Will Smith. So she's not on set with him, things like that. So that's the whole point. If we were like in the industry working actors, then I guess we would have to have crushes on regular people because I would be jealous if she was on set, you know, as a movie producer or something, and she was like running into Will Smith at work, and I'd be like, oh, what was Will wearing today? Did you guys talk about something in the break room? What'd you guys talk about in the break room, you and Will? And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that part of their head, right? You can't have work crush. You know, like, hey, Tom's pretty cute. You know, Tom over in accounting is a stud. I'm upset with that if you have that. And I'm a jealous type of dude. So, I mean, I get jealous over ridiculous stuff. So, there's that. So, I'll give you my wife's celebrity crushes. Number one, far and away, not even close at all, is Will Smith. Forever, since I've known Melissa, when she was Melissa Marshall, before we were married, before we were dating, I knew this. Far and away, it's Will Smith. Over the years, she's at one time it was only Will Smith. Over the years, she's added Idris Elba, because for the most part, he is this generation's Denzel, where everybody, you know, genuinely agrees he's a handsome guy. My wife is a sucker for salt and pepper beards and stuff. She likes that on a man because I have some gray hairs too in the back. I ain't salt and pepper, but she doesn't mind a little gray. So I know when I get that, she's gonna find me sexier. So I'm waiting. I get a couple of gray hairs in my beard, things like that. So Will Smith, Idris Elba. I'm trying to think of her black guy crushes. Pretty much it. Lately, she's been really into white men, and her number one that sounded funny coming out. Her number one white guy is Justin Timberlake, and she feels like he should have been married to a black girl, and that's just because he has a soul. Black people have just adopted Justin Timberlake as one of our own. So Justin Timberlake, Ryan Gosling, she's got the hots for him. Lately, Nick Jonas, he came out with a spread. I don't know, she's not a huge Nick Jonas crush, but there is a magazine he came out when he was in her underwear, and she was like, okay, Nick, I didn't know about you. I didn't know about you. So that's pretty much it for her. And then, like, a lot of women that, you know, like, a lot of women like Allen Iverson, she doesn't think he's attractive at all. Women think Wayne is attractive, and I think they're just lying. They're just probably attracted to his power and or money. But she doesn't think he's attractive. I don't think a lot of people think that he's attractive. But a lot of women do think Allen Iverson is attractive. My wife's not one of them. So she does go against the grain sometimes. Now, my celebrity crushes have changed over the years. When I was a kid, it was Cindy Crawford, and I think that was just the media, man, telling me that this is who is beautiful. And so Cindy Crawford, but she fell off. I remember thinking as a kid, like, do I think she's pretty, or do I just think she's pretty because Pepsi tells me she's pretty? I think she was doing Pepsi commercials. So she fell off. I've always had a white girl crush at the top. Not my main ones, but I've had, like, for a while it was Julia Roberts, and nobody thinks she's as dope as I do. And I just thought she's so pretty. She was funny. She did her best work in Erin Brockovich. And I just liked her. Now it's Emma. I always forget her last name. Emma Stone, I think it is. No, Watson. Emma Watson. The white girl from Easy A and the most recent Spider-Man movie, which was terrible. That's her. So, and then black and or any other race. In no real particular order. Paula Patton, Eva Mendes. I used to really think Alicia Keys was pretty, but her voice has bothered me over the last couple of years, so she fell off. Beyonce, I'm pretty sure everybody thinks she's amazing. And did I say Eva Mendes? Eva Mendes. Yes. Jada Pinkett's always been really beautiful to me. And did you guys see the picture of her mom? If you haven't seen it, Google Jada Pinkett Smith's mom. And she's coming up out of the water and she has abs. She's 61 if I remember correctly. And she's in perfect shape. We were talking about this in the office yesterday. And one of my coworkers was like, yeah, she has a great body. Look at her. But she probably just eats fruits and vegetables. And she probably drinks only water. And she probably just goes to the gym every day. What kind of life is that? And we all had a good laugh at that, because it was really funny that we were just like, you know what? We're not going to probably look like that at 61. So let's just make it seem like she's unreasonable. And her life is unreasonable. And that made us feel better about ourselves. And we had cinnamon rolls yesterday at work. So it was really good to not feel so bad about the fact that a 61-year-old woman looks better than we do or have done or did at any time in our life. Okay? Jada Pinkett Smith's mom right now looks better than I will ever or have ever looked in my life. Do you understand? Right now, she looks better than I can, ever, will, or not. And that's okay, because black don't crack unless it's on crack. Then it cracks, and it cracks bad. We're 22 minutes in, and I'm feeling good, man. Switching gears now on In Traffic with Kev on Stage, brought to you by sponsor here. I'm going to just pretend that I have a sponsor that is sponsoring this. So we're going to pause for station identification. You're listening to In Traffic with Kev on Stage right here on youtube.com/KevOnStage. Brought to you by Hanes Underwear. If you want comfort, if you want flexibility, if you want athletic movability, then you want Hanes. I wear Hanes. They give me the comfort and support I need. They're warm. The elasticity is good. I love Hanes. In Traffic with Kev on Stage, brought to you in part by Hanes, the underwear for a real man with a real package. In Traffic with Kev on Stage is also brought to you by Express men's clothing, where if you have big thighs, they don't have pants for you. Shirts they can do, great jackets and ties, but pants they don't have for big thighs guys like me. If anybody wants to make a big thigh guys dress slacks and jeans, that would be great. So people like me have big thighs. We have two problems with jeans. One problem is slim, skinny fitting is in right now. And if you have big thighs, those don't do well for you because it feels like somebody's choking your legs to death. And that's not cool. The other problem is you get like baggy fit, and then they're just like baggy and straight leg down to the back or to the bottom, and then you have to wear big shoes. So somebody needs to make cool fitting pants for guys with big thighs. So call them Slims for Big Gyms or something like that. And I'm not editing any of that. I'm not editing anything on this show. This is strictly start and stop. I'm not even trimming the beginning and end. When I press the red dot on my camera, phone, and when I press stop, that's the show. Got it? Good. I want to talk about relationships right now. I saw this meme on Facebook, and it was a picture of a woman sitting down on the toilet going poop. Doo-doo or dookie. I don't know what people say. My wife hates when I say going dookie. She likes to say, she's a classy lady. She likes to say, I have to go to the restroom. I like to make her feel uncomfortable. Like, you going dookie in there? Are you going dookie? No? Melissa. I guess I should have done that. Are you going dookie? She hates it. I like to mess with her. If I think she's going dookie, I open the door and be like, girl, you stink. And she gets so embarrassed. And I love messing with her. I do that same thing to my kids. When they come out of the bathroom for a long time, I be like, you was in there dookie-ing, wasn't you? Oh, dookie butt. And they get so embarrassed. Actually, JoJo doesn't get embarrassed. Zay Zay, on the other hand, gets embarrassed. And I get a kick out of it. So, the meme said, at what point in your relationship do you go poop? And the other person knows about it, like poop with the door open, or, you know, where you don't try to hide it. And I laughed because when I first got married, for about maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I pretended, and I didn't pretend, well, I did pretend that I didn't go poop. So we lived in a very small apartment complex, and we had a very small gym. And I mean, like, the gym was one of those big weights things where, like, it's the weight set and then all the 4 things are around it. You know, it was that. It was like, yeah, we have a gym. And it was like, this is the crappy apartment gym. But they had a bathroom in there that nobody ever used, because nobody ever used the gym because it was terrible and stupid. You couldn't, like, get healthy in there. So, when I first got married, probably the first 3 weeks, when I knew I had to go dookie, I would walk over to the gym. It was like a 2-minute walk, and I would go in there and go poop. The toilet was always clean. I don't know. Never even saw anybody coming in or out of that gym but myself. And then, like, after the 4th week, I was just like, I'm not about to do this. And at this point in our relationship, we only had 1 bathroom, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. And the bathroom was one of those, you could get to it from the hallway and get to it from the master bathroom. So it had 2 doors. When they let I mean, how you gonna have a master bedroom when you only have 1 bedroom? But you're still the master of that 1 castle bedroom, or 1 bedroom castle. So anyway, I would walk away and go poop there, and then I'd come back. Which, if you think about it, is more obvious than just going to the bathroom and coming out. So, for about 3 weeks, I did it. My wife, on the other hand, whew, she tried to hide it for, I mean, months on end. Months. She was in there going quick dukes. She was hitting them quick dukes. Where I'm like, just go in there, wipe, wash my hands within the time that you could have peed. And after a while, I mean, it was a long time before I caught her red-handed. It was a long time. And right now, to this day, 10 years into our marriage, 14 years into our relationship, she's still embarrassed. She's still, like, she's relaxed a little bit over the last 2 years. She'll go and poop, and she don't even close the door all the way. She'll leave it cracked. And I'd be like, what you doing in here? Doking. And I take my time. When I go poop, that's about the only time I get to relax. Because my kids don't bother me. They know I stink. So I be in there just like on my phone. It's another question of the day. I'm going to sprinkle questions of the day throughout to see how many people are watching throughout. So the first question of the day is, what's your celebrity crush? The second question of the day is, when you go to the bathroom, do you take your phone in? If you know you have to poop, do you take your phone in? Listen to me. I always take my phone. Because I don't know how long I be in there. I be in the bathroom for 30 minutes sometimes. Not pooping. Pooping is 2 or 3 minutes, whatever it takes. 10. I be in there for 30 minutes just not feeling like getting up. I'll wipe and flush, but I don't move. We've been talking about poop for a while. I feel like this is too much. I feel like it's Team Mind. People are just kind of like, can we talk about something else? But that's the third question. Or, are you serious, lady? See, I don't want to get road rage. I don't want to get road rage, but this lady just, you know what? God is able. God bless you. God loves you, and so do I. That's all I'm going to say. But how long does it take you in your relationship before you feel comfortable going poop with the door open? Or letting your partner know that you're going poop? Let me know. We're 30 minutes into In Traffic with Kev on Stage, and I'm feeling good, and I still have a long way to go for work. So right now I want to talk about the different foods that I like that are not typically associated with who I am. Supposed to be, you know, and what I mean by that is you generally eat the food that your parents made or from the region you were born in or grew up in. So I'm black and from West Texas, which is almost 95%. Maybe just if I get out of this entrance lane, people will stop trying to hit me. So the dominant foods in my life were soul food and Mexican food, which are my favorite foods. And when I was younger, I used to think, man, it'd be dope if somebody mixed those together. And there was a food truck in LA that made Tex-Mex soul food. So it would be like a taquito with like greens and fried chicken in it. And when I tell you, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was Tex-Mex soul food. And I thought it was a joke, but it was good. They had like oxtails and, I mean, macaroni and cheese inside of burritos. It was great. It's probably the worst thing for your body, but it was amazing. So, but the food that I really like that, like, I don't even know how I got on it, is pho and sushi. I really enjoy pho and sushi. I first had sushi, you know, in the grocery stores they have the containers, and you get the little like pre-made sushis, and they would bring them to like work potlucks or whatever. I would get only the ones with rice and the like fake lobsters, and I felt like so cultured, like, look at me, I'm a sushi guy. And then when I worked at Bank of America, I opened a business account for a girl who was like 2 or 3 years younger than me, Asian girl, and she opened a convection, or not convection belt. It was one of those sushi places where they put the sushi on a conveyor belt. So they'd make the sushi fresh and they put it on a conveyor belt. You sit down and the sushi comes around and you just pick it up, and then the plates are numbered for like price. So like orange is $1.50, red is $2, whatever. So we would eat, you know, I went there and visited her because, you know, as a good little personal banker, I want to check up on my clients. So I was like, let me try. At that time, I didn't love sushi. I just wanted to be a good business client because, I mean, be a good banker because business clients were hard to get and very valuable. So I went there and I just fell in love with it. So I used to go there by myself. My wife, she likes sushi, not as much as I do. I even took my kids there, and they're not huge sushi fans, but I forced them to eat it so many times that they've got a couple things they like, the most basic stuff. I just want my kids to have cultural capital. So I don't force them, but I highly suggest and encourage that they try new things. My parents did that for me, and it helped me to be more well-rounded of an individual. So yeah, we got down with sushi, and pho. I actually had the first time, also at the bank, a Vietnamese assistant manager who I hated. by the way, she's probably not going to watch this video, but we did not get along. I'm going to tell you why. I'm not going to say her name just in case she does watch this. Tell you why. Her whole life was this dang job. When Melissa gave birth to Zay Zay, she had a C-section. And so, you know, any of you guys know about C-sections, it takes a little bit longer to recover from the incision than a normal pregnancy because you had a major surgery. I mean, you know, pregnancy is not easy to recover from either. But she had a C-section, and about 8 weeks. Zay Zay was about 8 weeks, about 8 weeks old, and she went to visit her mom in Alabama because her mom hadn't been living in Washington. She had moved to Alabama, so Melissa was going to see them. So the day comes along, and I had told her, my wife's going out of town. I need to, what happened? My wife's going out of town. I need to take her to the airport. I'll be gone for an hour, whatever. This lady tells me that she asked me, why don't you let her ride the bus? Mind you, we lived in Tacoma, Washington. The SeaTac airport is closer to Seattle, Washington. So the airport's about 45 minutes away. I said, you want me to put my wife and newborn son on a bus with a car seat? She's had a C-section, car seat and luggage. You want me to put her on the bus? She was like, yeah, I'm sure she can do it. Dead serious, mind you. I was like, look, I'm not putting my wife on the bus. She was like, okay, why don't you put her on one of those airport shuttle things? And I'm like, again, first of all, those things are like 20, 30, 40 bucks. Even if they were free, this is my wife and newborn child. I don't want them struggling to get all the stuff out riding on a bus. When she just had a C-section, she's not 100%. But she was like, can anybody else take her? And at this point in the conversation, I said, look, I'm going to take my wife to the airport. When I drop her off, I'll be back. Ahead of time. This isn't the day of. I told her ahead of time, 2 weeks before, a week and a half before, just to let you know, on this day, my wife's going to the airport. I know I have to work that day. I'm going to take an hour and a half, and go take her to the airport. And from that on, we didn't like each other. Granted, she didn't like my handwriting on signature cards. She felt like, you know, a lot of stuff, so we didn't get along that well. But she made pho, and I tasted it, and hers was like super, like she was a gardener. She had no kids, no husband, because ain't nobody want her old ugly behind. But she had her garden, and that's what she made sweet love to. She was like, ooh, yeah, tomato plants. That's what I used to say to myself, like, that's why nobody loves you. You got that stupid garden. All you got is plants. But she made pho with all the leaves and grass in the world. And I was like, this is disgusting. It was just so much foliage in the bowl. And that's probably the most authentic pho you could get. So I was like, I am cool off pho. Pho's a huge thing in Washington. Because there's a really big Asian population. We also have a lot of good teriyaki restaurants. And that's one of the most things I would like. Outside of people, I miss teriyaki restaurants in Washington. So anyway, but then I gave pho a try again and fell in love with it. And my kids love it too. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell my wife we should go have pho for dinner today. I don't think she took anything down for dinner. And it's raining. That's the best time to get pho. And they also have bubble tea. Remind me to tell my wife that. I want to go get pho for dinner. The restaurant in Washington called What the Pho. And I thought that was clever. So anyway, so the foods that I like the most are, and Hawaiian food. I very rarely get to eat Hawaiian food because it's super expensive. But me and Melissa went to Hawaii one time about 5 or 6 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, before I got fired from Key Bank. And we had Kalua pork, which is the pig that they bake underground. Man, when I tell you that I had a Kalua pork sandwich of a restaurant. I think it was called Cheeseburger or something. This thing was the best in my life. It was the best sandwich I've ever had, really. Okay, that's not fair. I've had some really good sandwiches. It was the best. It was really good. I don't classify it. I don't want to classify it against other sandwiches I've had, because there's a restaurant called Paseo's in Seattle that closed down that made the best Cuban sandwiches. But I'll say it was the best pork, the best pulled pork I've ever had. That's safe to say. So for me, it's like soul food, Mexican food, sushi. Actually, it's not that order. My favorite restaurant in all the land is Katsuya, and it's a pretty uppity sushi restaurant in LA. So right now in my life, sushi is my number one favorite food to eat, and probably because I don't get to eat it often. Because again, my kids don't like it, and since I have small children, a lot of my life and restaurant choices revolve around them. It doesn't make any sense for us to go spend $100 for my kids not to like the food and not to be able to eat it because they don't like sushi. So we end up going places that are more kid-friendly, or at least have kid menus. Like, we always have to go to a place that has macaroni and cheese on the menu, because that's pretty much the only thing that JoJo orders. Macaroni and cheese, corn dogs, cheeseburgers. If your restaurant doesn't have that, then we have a problem. We still go to other places, we just know that he's not gonna eat that much. So I'm praying, I'm both praying for the day and not looking forward to the day where my kids can stay home alone. And on that subject, man, I feel like my parents let us stay home alone way earlier than I will let my kids stay home alone. I feel like I got to stay home alone in like 3rd or 4th grade. I was walking to school alone in 1st grade. There's no way on earth I'd let my kids walk to school alone. 5th grade, maybe. And that depends on what kind of neighborhood you gotta walk through. In our old neighborhood, there was they could get to school without, there's no major like thoroughfares, but this school they'd have to cross like a busy street. And I saw, me and JoJo picked him up from school one day last year, going to pick up Isaiah, saw a car hit 2 kids. The car was driving way too fast to be in a school zone, and I saw this car hit these 2 little boys. And at that moment, I said, these kids probably will never walk to school now. I don't know if I'll ever let my kids walk to school because of that. Not to mention, when I was a kid, my parents let us, I mean, we got a bike and we had like so much freedom. Like my mom, I would just tell her I'm going to ride my bike and we would be gone for like 7 hours. And this was before cell phones, you know. My mom, see, when traffic breaks up, this is something I just need to know. When traffic breaks up, the phone is gonna just die. So in traffic with KevOnStage, it's gonna have to end when traffic's over. Because when I have to really drive, and I mean, I can drive without paying attention to the camera because it's just right here. But when there's a lot of cars and I'm going regular fast, the phone falls more. It's good to know. So again, we need this to work. I'm in traffic from the time I get the kids in school to way down on the 405. And then there's more traffic when I get off on my exit. So just gonna know, it's gonna be about 30, 40 minutes. Now again, if you guys help me with the topics earlier, I can start earlier because I'd be looking for stuff to do, to talk about while I'm stuck in traffic. So anyway, let me finish what I was saying. We've got to pho, to food, to kids in school. Yeah, I don't think I'll let my kids stay home. Oh, I know. I was talking about restaurants that I don't get to eat at because I have to take my kids somewhere. And I don't think I'll be letting my kids stay home as early as I did. So I'm looking at like 14 and 12 before I'll be comfortable. Maybe 10 and 12 to go out to dinner from like 6 to 8 when they can use a cell phone. I feel like 12. One of them should be 12. 12 and 10, and when they have cell phones, because we don't even have a house phone. And I'm going to stop now because this is getting too dangerous. So this has been In Traffic with KevOnStage, brought to you by nobody. If we're going to work, let me know in the comments what we should talk about tomorrow. Blah, 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 blah. See you tomorrow. Bye.